And good evening, everybody. Welcome to SAFRL Season 5, Round 3. And again, I can hear myself. That's not good. Let me get rid of that. There we go. We're at an iconic venue tonight for F1. Needs no introduction. In fact, you can already see where we are just looking at the pit lane. Iconic circuit, unique circuit. And to make it even a little bit more unique tonight, we're doing it under the lights. So just the short quali session, 18 minutes to get out there, set your lap time, and that will be your starting position for the race. Monaco is so easy to get traffic, so easy to lose a front wing. On your fast attempt, you've got to get as many opportunities as you can. Go out as early as you can. Don't leave it for late. This is not the sort of track you want to leave it for late. Hardly pays off. Welcome to It's Free in the comment section. Welcome to Tion in the comment section. Earlier prediction from Tion, that was a prediction for pole position, no name added to it, just the time. And that was a prediction of a 1:09.6. We're riding with Brandt in the Alpine. He's on an outlap. Oh, and you see already running into traffic. Really got to make sure you find yourself a good space on that circuit. Make yourself a good space. Make sure you don't run into anybody on your fast lap. So easy to get traffic, and on a track like this, it's really, even if you catch the guy at the wrong part of the circuit, it's even extremely difficult for him to help you out. Not easy to get offline on this circuit. Just nowhere to go. Good evening, everyone in the comment section. Nice to see the comment section nice and active early on. We're 3 minutes into qualifying, haven't seen a lap time yet. Whole bunch of cars out on track on fast laps, and even more out on out laps. So those timing screens are going to change in the very near future. For the time being, no lap times to judge from. And I think that was a bit of internet. But I thought that Mercedes was heading towards the wall. We have our first lap time of the night. It goes to Windsor's. It's a 1:10.3. Bosveld P2 for the Ferrari 1:11 flat. Big difference between the top two there. We will see these times come down. Each time the guys go around, they're going to have a little bit more confidence. They're going to brake a little bit later, push a little bit harder. Everybody pretty obviously out on the soft compound. No need for anything else. Obviously a dry race. Confirmation of a dry race. No weather tonight. Would be quite a interesting addition to not only have the Monaco street track with the addition of lights. At least we're not throwing in some rain. We ride with Don Rabico. Believe this was, am I right in saying, I might just get this wrong, but was this the winner of the previous round? No lap time from him. Currently, F1 Logic leads the way, 199. Then we have Cheddar in P2, Windsor's in P3. Horsfeld P4, Brands P5. We ride with the Alpha Tauri, Don Ravico. I believe this is his fast lap. We can see his battery ticking away there. Reminder, this is season 5, round 3, Monte Carlo, and that is Don Ravico not having the lap he intended. Luckily here in Monaco, if you don't have damage on that car, it is pretty easy to recharge that battery, spend a lot of time on the brakes. Simps returns to the pits without setting a lap time. It's really easy here in Monaco to get your first one or two runs wrong, and then all of a sudden you just run out of time. It's a short quali, and if you're not out on track at the right time, you could find yourself right at the back on a circuit that is very difficult to pass on. Still riding with Don Ravico. Let's ride on board with the AlphaTauri driver, looking for his first lap time of the evening. Wasn't able to get it on the previous lap. Had an incident that brought him to a standstill. Logic will be happy with that first run. It's free, you're right there. That was a solid banker. And speaking of a solid banker, he battled to get the lap time out at first, but finally gets a lap time on the board, and it's good enough for provisional pole of 19961. Wow. That's 16, is that 16 thousandths? I'm not even sure how you say that. 16 thousandths of a second. Or 1.5 tenths, whichever you prefer. Not Shimmy, first of the 2 Red Bulls on the timing sheets. He's gone around good enough for P5, 110.7. The gap at the front, absolutely fantastic. Don Ravico, F1 Logic, that's your front row so far, and they're extremely close together. Wizards in the pits, not Shimmy returning to the pits. Then we have a whole handful of cars on outlaps, everyone looking for their space on the circuit. But as you can see on the track map, a lot of cars getting close together in qualifying, and that's not what you want. Shane currently P13 in his Alfa Romeo. As I say, that gets demoted to P14, his first lap, an 11.8. Looking to improve on that. Let's see if he is able to improve on that. He seems to be on an outlap, so let's have a look what's happening in the rest of the field. Here we have, how do I pronounce this? Is it Tiago Maestro? I don't know. Maestro, I don't know, Maestro. Royal Viking in the second of the Haas tonight on the timing sheets, currently P16, 112.1. Still waiting for lap times from 3 drivers. Those include the 2 McLarens, as well as one of the Aston Martins. Pompun has been able to secure P5, so that means an all Red Bull 3rd row. Good evening to Visor in the comment section. Nice to have you. At the moment, as things stand, Don Ravico leads the way, provisional pole, but only by a few thousandths of a second. F1 Logic P2. Then we have Cheddar for AlphaTauri in P3, Wizards P4. Remember, that was his first lap time. Most of those drivers are out on a second run. This is Windsor's. He was the first man to set a lap time in this qualifying session. He took pole ever so briefly with a 1:10.3. Been demoted to P4 since. Ooh, and gets it heavy out of shape on the entry to the tunnel. And he's going to back out of that completely. We'll go up the road, or rather down the road, to Cheddar in the second of the AlphaTauris. 1:10.2, just 3/10 of a second, hardly 3/10 of a second adrift from his teammate. Sure, he'd love to make it a AlphaTauri 1-2. Windsor still with that best of a 1:10.3. He backed out of the previous lap, charged up that battery, and he's having another go. Let's ride on board with Windsor's. It is a short lap into turn 1. So careful not to cut that corner. It's probably the one corner you can cut here in Monaco, especially when you're trying to go quickly. And there we go, hits one wall on the outside, hits another wall on the inside, and it looks like he's backed out of the lap. It's really the problem with Monaco. If you want to be fast, if you want to get pole position, you need to push, you need to use all of the track, and that means getting as close to the barriers as you can. And all it takes is one mistake when you're that close to the barriers. Welcome to Etienne, to the stream and to the comment section. Giving some support to the Haas team, currently P4, P16. That is Windsor's and Royal Viking. F1 Logic retakes his provisional pole position that he lost a few minutes ago. Throws down a new gauntlet. 109.677, and I think that actually matches up to our pole prediction. So is anyone going to beat our pole prediction? This is your provisional pole sitter, the Mercedes-Benz F1 Logic 109.6. This is the man in P2. He's on an out lap. He needs to react. Believe that's his teammate. Was it his teammate? Thought it was his teammate. Don Rabico now starting to light up the tires, light up the brakes, get things ready. Goes over the chicane there. Feels no need to take it. Don't do things like that, guys. You're on camera. Should be jumping chicanes. Well, here we go. Don Rabico now into the final corner where he's going to go through the not so straight main straight. It's going to activate DRS, probably one of the most useless DRS sections on the calendar, into turn 1 up towards Casino. Not sure. Looks like he's backed out of that. I'm not quite sure. Not Shumi. B3 leading Red Bull. He was able to improve. Cheddar heading into the pits, currently P5. 1:10.1. He's going to have to get into the mid 109s if he wants to get himself on the front row. Again, you can see on the track map, lots of traffic out on circuit, lots of empty spaces, and then just little swarms of cars here and there. Yeah, I'd say these are the places where you can cut corners in Monaco when you're trying to go extremely fast. Was obviously turn 1. And then these over here, when you're trying to go too fast, cut the corner as much as you can, and the line between what's allowed and what's not allowed is a very thin line, and you find out the hard way. It does feel confusing when you get corner cutting penalties in Monte Carlo, which is covered by Omco. Not Shumi now on his final run, 2.5 minutes remaining in the session, and I wonder if he's backed out of that because he did take a bit of Omco there on the outside. Cheddar back out on circuit with just over 2 minutes remaining, everybody going out to have another go. Only 3 cars remaining in the pits, so a very busy track. Look at that entering the tunnel, we have a swarm of cars. Let's bring up the broadcast cam so you can get a better idea. Look at this. Whole bunch of cars following, and all of these cars will be hoping for their final run to improve. But if one of them makes a mistake, the rest of them are going to find traffic. It's going to be an interesting final run. Provisional pole sitter not happy with the 109.6, not feeling safe just yet. He's out on track for one final run. Don Rabico, his qualifying night is over for now. Not Shumi in the pits with just over a minute remaining, so he's not going to be able to get back out there. If you're not out on track, that is your night. If you are on track, this is your last chance. This is Shakes currently in P14 for Alpine, 110.8. Everyone looking for those final improvements. Track position, more important here in Monaco than anywhere else. So difficult to make the passes at this circuit while still trying to minimize the risk. And we'll be looking for an improvement, get closer to his teammate, get higher up the field. This is Cheddar going through the tunnel for the final time in this qualifying session. He's got a 110 flat at 110.1 at the moment. He'll be looking to improve that, get himself up onto the front row, maybe demote his teammate. A lot of people now watching on the stream, great to see, lots of support for the channel, lots of support for the league. That's exactly what we want to see, more viewers each week. More people getting invested each week. Pompun currently P9, he goes over the line for the final time, and what an improvement it is. Late in the night, 109.8. It's good enough for P3. Cheddar also improved, also did a 109.8. It's good enough for P2. But so far, man of the night, and I think that is the night. I don't think anyone else is on a lap, so man of the night so far. F1 Logic. With the spot on, that's right, Free, that's the spot on pole prediction. It was a 109.6. When I first read it, I thought it was pushing it just a little bit too far, maybe a little exaggerated, but the guys have come out and matched the prediction perfectly. Those are your starting positions for the Season 5 Round 3 Monaco Grand Prix here in Tier 1. Logic takes pole position from Cheddar. Those will be your front row tonight. Then we have Pompun P3, Rabico P4, Not Shumi P5. Then we have Windsor's P6, Grimjaw P7, Brands in 8th, and then we have Django and its Midas making up your top 10 in P9 and P10. Missing out on the top 10 positions, we have Bosveld P11, Biffelsfontein P12, Langnai P13, Shakes P14, Shane down in P15, both Alfa Romeos in the bottom 5. Then we have Thiago P16, Royal Viking P17. And did this screen really just disappear on me? That's fantastic. Sorry about that. P17, Royal Viking P18. I believe that's Willis. I can't pronounce that. And then P19, Sims. It's a bit late there on my reading. That's a lot of names, 19 names to read. We're looking at the pit lane for reasons unbeknown to me. This is the final moments before the race when guys have the opportunity to make their final decisions about strategy. What tyre are they going to start on? Do they expect safety cars? Do they risk underfueling? All those decisions take place in the next couple of seconds. Most manufacturer wins at this circuit. Quite surprising actually. It's McLaren. 15 victories at the Monaco Grand Prix. There we go. The red lights are on. 5 red lights, and they're going to go off any moment now. And they're off. And so are the cars. The cars are off. Cheddar takes the lead. Cheddar takes the lead away from F1 Logic around the outside into turn 1. And we do have chaos. We've got chaos. We see a Red Bull facing the wrong way. We have a Red Bull falling down the order. That's Pampun. He didn't get the start he would have wanted. Everybody else seems to be away pretty nicely. The leaders already have, first and second already have a bit of a lead over the rest. 1 stop or a 2 stop. Those are your strategy predictions. What do you guys think in the comment section? Who's going to be doing what? Let's just bring up some stats on your screen so we can see who's starting on what tyre, get a better idea of what's happening at the start of this race. We're under a virtual safety car on lap 1 of 39 with Welsh, or Welsh, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but needless to say, one of the McLarens has retired from this race on lap 1, bringing out the virtual safety car, and for the time being, race is neutralized. One of the more challenging circuits on the track. Wouldn't be surprised to see lots of retirements by the end of this. So easy to make a mistake. But everyone out on track here will want to finish this race. Just finishing this race is a reward. Not Shumi picks up a penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car. He's not going to be happy with that. That's going to come back to bite him. A whole bunch of cars now in the pits towards the end. Well, I'm not sure what's going on there. A whole bunch of cars in the pits. Is that all damage related, or are a bunch of cars getting rid of their tyres on lap 1? Rather surprised to see this many cars taking advantage of, I was just about to say, a very long safety car, but we're underway. Flags are green, and the leaders, first and second that is, have really opened up their gap to the rest of the field. Some great camera angles now from the nose of F1 Logic as he attempts to retake the lead of this race. He started from pole position, lost that lead immediately into turn 1. Cheddar went aggressively around the outside, had a fantastic pass for the lead, and he's been able to hold on to that lead since turn 1, and Logic wants that position back. since turn 1. Not even going to read the fastest lap of the race because it's already changed 3 times in the last 5 seconds. DRS is now enabled on lap 3 of 39. But bear in mind, this is probably the circuit on the calendar where DRS really has the least effect. Just the one DRS zone, and it's down a straight that isn't, well, it's not even straight. Further back down the order we have Don Rabico. He's in P3, also defending a position from an Alpine. Both AlphaTauris defending positions. Your leader Cheddar defending from F1 Logic. Don Rabico P3 defending from an Alpine. That's Brands. Further down in P5 we have Midas. Then we have the 2 Ferraris, Bosvelt and Biffelsfontein. The double Bs at Ferrari Shakes P8, Natsumi P9. Red Bull's not having a good start to this race. Then we have Django P10. Those are your points paying positions after lap 4. Grimjaw P11, Langnai P12, Sims P13. Then we have Royal Viking, Pampun, Windsors, Theog P17, and Shane making up your field in P18. That gap we mentioned after the virtual safety car was 3.5 seconds. That gap has come right down. Wonder if these two battling has just allowed Don Rabico to come back into this battle. And not only has Don Rabico come back into this battle, he's brought Brands with him. All of a sudden, battle for the lead getting very crowded. And remember, if these 4 cars engage in any way, there's a DRS train not far behind them. And if that joins the back of this queue, well, things could get messy. 20 viewers watching the stream. It's more drivers than we have on track. That's fantastic. Thanks for all the support on the channel. Thanks for the support for SAFRL on a Monday night, Tier 1. Cheddar still leads the way from F1 Logic. AlphaTauri having a fantastic start to the race, P1, P3. Brands hasn't given up on that podium position, still P4. Midas a little further back now. Then we have Bosveld P6, his teammate has fallen off. Those cars were running line astern. Now we have Alpine in P7, that Shakes, Django P8, Grimjaw P9, and Langnai has now gotten into those top 10 positions. In the top 5 we have 2 Mercedes and 2 AlphaTauris. Strong nights so far for both those manufacturers. Obviously, just like F1, we've got the Driver Championship, we've got the Constructors Championship, and if both cars can compete like this on a consistent level, can take home more than just one championship at the end of the season. But then you need your teammate to play game. Cheddar's still leading the way. I've lost the... Oh, there we go, it's back. I almost panicked. I lost all my game sound for a second there, but it's back. Cheddar still leads from Logic. Don Rabico P3 still defending from Brands. Alpine not being shaken off by the top 3. It's Midas P5. Bosveld, the leading Ferrari. Remember, this is a very long race because of the short distance of the track length, means we have 39 laps to deal with. And ooh, when we see an Alpine almost getting out of shape, that's how easy it is. Just lose the back end, and you saw how close that rear tire got to the Armco. If it had made contact, that could have been the end of that. You could have had a safety car, and it could have thrown this entire race on its head. So one mistake by any 18 of these drivers can have a severe impact on the results of this race. At the front, line astern, looks like a really fast formation lap. Cheddar leads from Logic. Don Rabico P3, Brands P4, Midas P5. We knew overtaking was going to be a difficult thing on this circuit. Not a lot of DRS to rely on, just the one DRS zone, and like we said, it's down a very short main straight when compared to other circuits on the calendar. So you just don't get that extra help from DRS, don't get that extra advantage. By the time you start getting a bit of an advantage from DRS, it's time to go into turn one. And then there's no other straight really to speak of on this circuit. So if you're used to relying on DRS to help you finish off your passes, tonight is something quite different. If you're a good defensive driver and hate losing positions to cars with DRS, well, this is your dream. It'll be interesting to see. Dion was spot on with the pole prediction, so I'm going to take all of his advice, all of his, he says here, about the pit stops. Who's going to pit first? Is somebody going to try the undercut? Could maybe have someone here who thinks he can get past, just struggling to make the overtake, maybe go into the pits first and hopefully come out ahead, perform the undercut. But here in Monaco, that is really a dangerous thing to do. Think you're going to perform the undercut, and then you come out in a DRS train of traffic. To you it's traffic, to them they're in track position, they don't need to let you past. Some in the comments saying the Mercedes should pit first, some in the comments saying the Mercedes should pit later. So multiple opinions, only Logic knows what his plans are. Ooh, and he thought about going up the inside there in the chicane, thought better of it at the last moment, but he's lost a bit of momentum, and you can see the second AlphaTauri coming right up on the back of that Mercedes. Went for a pass in probably an unfortunate position, not the best place, but what is the best place here at Monaco? Logic all over the back of Cheddar. This must be stressful, looking in your mirrors and seeing the Mercedes there for the duration of 10 laps now. Can't shake him off. Just can't shake him off. And now he'll be thinking, it's coming to the point of the race where you start to think about your strategy, think about your tyre. When do you pit? What's your next compound? And if you've got your mind occupied with all these things and you're still trying to watch your mirrors, mistakes can happen at any time. Some say undercut, some say overcut. What will it be? Who's going to pounce first? I don't think we should see anyone in the top three pit first. If anyone pits first, it should be this man here, the Alpine. He started on a set of softs. They're 9 laps old, and as I say that, he turns into the pit lane. So it seems like 9 laps on the softs and jump into the pits. How many laps will these medium runners go? There we go. You can give me some predictions on that. If you've done a practice session, let me know. What's the tire life on or the expected tire life on a set of mediums? Cheddar leads from Logic, Rabico P3, Midas P4. Midas hasn't really been part of the battle so far, but he's coming back into it. Look at the top 4, covered by 2 manufacturers. So between 14 and 17 laps, that is the prediction for the mediums. And we have a safety car, and that's how quickly things can get thrown on the head. We have another 2 retirements from, another retirement, sorry, from the race. That is Pampun, a Red Bull, done and dusted for the night. And we're under full safety car conditions, and this will throw all strategies amongst the wind. Anything you had planned? Forget about it. We're starting on a fresh sheet of paper. Crucial for Cheddar. Stays out ahead of Logic. And now he's going to have 2 or 3 very calm laps driving behind the safety car. But he'll already be thinking about the restart at the end of those safety car laps. Is he going to be able to hold on to the lead? Or is F1 Logic going to snatch that lead into turn 1, as Cheddar did to him in turn 1? Time for payback. Obviously we are now on lap 12 of 39. We're under safety car conditions. Lap has been temporarily neutralized. A lot of cars in the field went in for a pit stop. You can see most of the field on a brand new set of tires, with the exception of Grimjaw and Tiago. They have decided to stay out on circuit. They are P8 and P10, and their tires are 10 laps old. Everyone else pretty much on a new set of tires. No softs on circuit, everyone on a set of mediums or hards. And there's still quite the handful of cars trying to catch up to the queue. So we may see another 2 laps of this. Monaco is short circuit. Guys get around here quite quickly. We have Shane now only entering the tunnel, so I think we will get at least 1 more lap under the safety car. This does make things interesting. Tell me in the comment section, what do you think? If you're on a new set of hards right now, can you finish the race? If you're on a set of mediums, well, you probably have to stop again. Who made the right choice? Who's in the strong position here? I think the guys on hards have made the right choice. You've got track position. You're in Monaco. It's difficult to pass. And unless the guy behind you is much faster than you, it's going to be really difficult to get past. Even if your speeds are slightly similar, it's just impossible. You don't get that DRS 2 or 3 times in a lap. You get one short DRS zone that doesn't even really help you much. And then you're into turn 1 with all the Armco you could ask for. Safety car staying out for another lap. Shane and Royal Viking now going through the chicane there after the tunnel, so they will catch up to the rest of the queue. And the safety car should be in at the end of this lap. It'll be lap 15 of 39. Remember, this could just be a safety car with many more safety cars coming. So much can happen in Monaco, especially in the latter stages of the race. 39 laps. And once you've been going around and around and around, especially if you're in a bit of a bubble, no one really close behind you, no one really visible in front of you, you're just in a race of your own. And then in the latter stages, silly mistake, hit a barrier you've not hit in any of your practice laps, and you're just left there sitting looking at your wheel wondering what went wrong. Going through the tunnel under safety car, probably for the final time under this safety car at least. We have 16 drivers on track from the 19 that started the race. Okay, so that's it. Medium runners will have to stop again. Hard runners will probably be doing a bit of a stretch. Tyres won't be in great shape towards the end. So this will be a race of good tyre management. Don't want your tyres to fall off a cliff in the last couple of laps. It's going to make it very difficult to hold on to your position if the guys behind you have the superior tyre. There we go, safety car in, and we are back at it. Logic right back at it. He pretty much wishes he had DRS already. Going up Casino Straight now, up the hill, right on the gearbox, right on the gearbox. He wants that position back and he wants it now. He doesn't want to wait. Wants to get cheddar while the tyres are cold, while the brakes are cold. This is his opportunity. Looking for a mistake. Needs to be close enough to capitalize on any mistake that happens, but not too close. You don't want to go back into the back of his gearbox. Don Rabico, he was catching up very nicely to the top two. 1.9 seconds adrift from the top two now. He was defending most of the race from an Alpine. Now he's defending from a Mercedes, as is his teammate in P1, also defending from a Mercedes. So we have AlphaTauri Mercedes, AlphaTauri Mercedes. That is your top four. Well, we actually have four brands in the top 8. AlphaTauri Mercedes, AlphaTauri Mercedes, 2 Alpines and 2 Aston Martins. Those will be your top performing teams tonight if things were to end right now. Just see 2 penalties there on our screens. Let's just get confirmation of what those are. Seems like Notsumi has that. It's either that speeding under virtual safety car that's still next to his name, or that is a speeding in the pit lane, because it's a 5 second. Then Shakes looks like he's also got a 5 second of his own. Going with a 3 second penalty for what I can only imagine is corner cutting. Stops, not much you can read into that. Pretty much everyone just doing the one stop. If you see more than one stop, it's probably due to wing damage. And as far as positions have changed, the biggest winner on the night, that goes to Shakes. Currently P6, he's made up 8 places. 8 also involved in the biggest loser of positions tonight, Windsors, down 8 positions from where he started. We ride now still with your leaders, Cheddar and Logic. 0.2 of a second is the gap between them. Logic just needs that car in front of him to make a mistake. If he's gonna get the pass, he actually needs his rival in front of him to give him a bit of an assist, to run wide, to make a mistake. But if the car in front of you holds his racing line and makes no mistakes, it's really very difficult here in Monte Carlo to make a pass. Two Alpines, line astern, 5th and 6th. Wonder if we'll see a battle between those two. We all saw last night what happens when teammates battle. Sometimes you get very entertaining results. As for the top 4, they remain the same. 3rd and 4th have spread out a little bit more now, the gap getting bigger between 3rd and 4th. As for the lead, gap is no bigger. Just 0.2 of a second between 1st and 2nd place. Must be so frustrating for the Mercedes in P2. He started on pole position, and what he must be thinking, what if I did get into turn 1 in the lead? Where would I be now? He's been looking at the back of an AlphaTauri for the entire race. Grimjaw, he is not in a battle with those two cars in front of him. He's fallen adrift from the two Alpines, but he's got Django all over the back of him now in DRS. Williams looking to make up a few more positions. Not a good night for Red Bull. They've had the one retirement for Pampun. He was the highest starting Red Bull of the two. We've got carbon fiber on the track. I'm not sure what happened there. Somebody, all three cars getting really close to the barrier, so I'm not sure which one touched the barrier, but we saw some carbon fiber flying. Let's have a look at the Williams. It's the Williams. The Williams got damage, and there's more carbon fiber. I think what happened was he lost the wing when we saw the carbon fiber, and now with no wing he just got understeer into another Armco barrier and removed the rest of his wing. So Django P10, a car that's not in good condition, and he'll be hobbling back to the pits. Unfortunately, we missed it. We missed it, folks. We didn't see what happened at the front. We were looking at the back of the field, and F1 Logic has retaken the lead of the race. I wonder if that was a mistake from Cheddar, because the gap is pretty big. 1.5 seconds already. We just missed the move, and the gap's already 1.7 seconds. So I wonder if that was some sort of a mistake from Cheddar. Let's have a look at his car, see if there's no damage. No damage on the car. Wish we knew what happened there, but the Alpines, the AlphaTauris rather, now P2, P3. Merc leads the way, Midas P4 in the other Merc. This is the second Merc. First Merc has been getting most of your coverage tonight, but this man here doing a fine job of his own. P4. No penalties next to his name. We know anything can happen in Monaco, and from that position, still a race-winning contender for tonight. Great night so far for the Alpines, running line astern, P5, P6. The pass was made going up Casino, so the part of the track that closest sort of resembles a straight was where the position obviously just got close enough to his gearbox on the exit of turn 1, and then just had the superior traction to get him up the straight and go up the inside just in front of the Casino and retake the lead of the race. 4.7 seconds is the gap, so not only was he looking at the back of the AlphaTauri the entire race, I think now his pace suggests some of his frustration. All that built up tension from looking at the same rear wing. Now he's just letting everyone have it. It's quali lap after quali lap. 5.1 seconds is the gap. for the lead. F1 Logic strongly in control at the moment. Cheddar P2. And if he doesn't pick up the pace, he may come under pressure from his teammate, and that'll be an interesting scenario, because do you let your teammate go? He's coming under pressure himself from another Mercedes. Not Shumi. P7 had a real up and down race, the only remaining Red Bull tonight. Getting really close to the barrier. That's just a good example of making a mistake. Doesn't even need to be a big one. Just a small mistake. That's all that's required. Now the second Mercedes coming back into this race. Looked like he had fallen off the back of Don Rabico, but he's definitely come back into this, and now he's got two Alpines, two Alpha Tauris in front of him. I swear there's just too many names starting with A. I actually think four of the 10 teams start with the letter A. Alpine, Alpha Tauri, Alfa Romeo, and Aston Martin. It gets really confusing. No change here between second, third and fourth. Still Cheddar from Rabico from Midas. As for your leader, gap's getting a bit ridiculous. I reckon the cars at the back here, they'll be hoping for another safety car. F1 Logic would curse if he got a safety car right now, because it would cancel out this fantastic lead that he's been able to build. And now Cheddar. Cheddar lets Don Rabico go on by into P2. We have a car ghosting there. Who's that? That is a Haas. Is that Windsor's, I believe? Maybe Windsor's. Now Cheddar falling back. It's Midas taking P3. Don't have a very useful camera here. We're waiting for the broadcast camera to give us something better. This car must have some sort of damage. Cheddar falling back and falling back quickly. There we go. That's the problem. There's no damage. He's ghosting. Is he ghosting? I thought I saw him ghosting. I'm not sure. No, he's not ghosting. There we go. He's into the pits. He's got damage. Sad for AlphaTauri. They were having a fantastic night up until that point. Don Rabico, though, he is up into P2. So they still have a representative up there. But I wonder how much Don Rabico is going to be able to do about F1 Logic up the road. 9.2 seconds is a massive gap to have, with just 14 laps remaining. Approximately 14 laps remaining. Don't ever take my maths as something serious. Cheddar now P8 after going into the pits for what I assume was damage. We didn't get confirmation. I didn't see the damage myself, but I assume it was. I saw him drop down the order and then dive into the pits. Seems like all the evidence for a broken front wing is there. He's back out on track. P8, fresh set of mediums. He will definitely go to the end on that set of mediums, and I wonder if those mediums are going to bring him into play. We have a retirement. Will this cause a safety car? Virtual safety car, not a full safety car. I think anyone in the field hoping to catch F1 Logic was hoping for a full safety car. Virtual safety car, lap 24 of 39. Hopefully it's not a long one. Don't see anyone stationary on track. I think we'll be underway shortly. Fontaine. Well, he found the wall on the inside to the pit entry. If you're hoping for a good pit stop, that's not going to be much of an assistance to you. Cheddar P6 I remember the safety car could help him out. He's got that fresh set of mediums on. If we get a full safety car, Cheddar will probably be in pole position to win this race. All the cars in front of him on aging hards. We know Logic is leading the race by an absolute mile, so we don't need to give him any more coverage. Let's go down to P2. Don Rabico still has its Midas just behind him, 1.2 seconds now, so he is out of DRS. Shakes now. P4 looking for a way past the lapped car. I think that car is ghosting. Just looking for the right opportunity to get through. Shakes currently P4, looking for a potential podium, but it's going to be difficult because he's one of the drivers with a penalty next to his name. What a job by the two Mercedes drivers. Don't forget about Don Rabico in P2, but as a team effort, Mercedes doing a fantastic job. P1, P3. This is exactly the sort of result you want when you're thinking about the Constructors' Championship. Penalties, penalties, penalties. Django now gets a penalty. I think he already had a penalty. Let's just get confirmation of what that was. It's a 3-second penalty for Django. Now just 13 of the 19 that started remain in this race. Most retirements I've ever seen in this race was in the 1996 Monaco Grand Prix. If you've ever got nothing better to do, go on F1 TV, go to archives and look at the Monaco Grand Prix from 1996. 4 drivers finished the race, 3 of them on the lead lap. And that race was won by, in fact it was the only race win ever for Olivier Panis. French driver who won the Monaco Grand Prix in a French car. Was it the Prost? No, it was still a Ligier back then. French driver, French car. Don't tell the Monegasque people, but technically a French track. Still a lot in it for P2. That battle has not yet been decided. Midas all over the back of Don Rabico. He's been able to come back into DRS. Now 0.8 of a second is the gap. Speaking of, Cheddar lost a few positions earlier on in the race. He's going to have a bit of a recovery drive now with 11 laps to go. He's going to have the tyre advantage. But is that tyre advantage really going to be an advantage? Considering we're in Monaco and overtakes here need to be something special. So you've got the faster tyre, but if you can't get past the car that's on hards ahead of you, then that medium, you're just wasting its peak life. Frustratingly driving around behind someone's rear wing. Midas now dropping back slightly from Don Rabico. Gap at the front, stabilizing slightly, 11.2 seconds. It's been there for the last 2 or 3 laps. Maybe F1 Logic just feeling, okay, I've done enough. Let's maintain this. No more risks. 10 laps to go. I'll probably say that and he'll add another second to the gap. Then I know he's listening to commentary. Not Shumi. P5 doing what he can to defend from Cheddar. Man driving probably in a little bit of anger on a fresh set of tyres. He's going to have the tyre advantage. It's difficult to pass here, but when the car behind you just has superior traction, corner exit after corner exit, it's bound to happen eventually. But you need to get really close at the right part of the circuit. If you get close at the wrong part of the circuit, you'll actually just mess up your own momentum and have to do the build-up all over again. Back to the battle for P2. Midas not able to close that gap any closer. We were just saying, to make a pass around here, you need to be right on the gearbox of that car. Locking up there a little bit on the inside. We are now reaching the latter stages of the Monaco Grand Prix, round 3, here at SAFRL. Lots of people still watching on the stream. Comment section has slightly slowed down. It's a long race. People getting tired, forgetting they have YouTube on. Probably just listening to my voice in the background at this point. They'll be back for the final 2 laps. Yeah, you should see the channel analytics on this channel. The most views come in the first 3 laps and the last 5 laps. F1 Logic leads the way, 11.8 seconds, and what domination it's been. He spent a lot of time behind Cheddar in the AlphaTauri, frustratingly doing everything he can, going left, going right, doing what he can to get a pass. Couldn't get it right, but he kept it up. He kept the consistency up lap after lap, and finally the mistake did come from Cheddar. Logic pounced, took the lead of the race, and since then he's never looked back, stamped his authority, put a gap on the track, making sure nobody can steal it from him at the end. It's all up to him now, just needs to keep the car in a straight line and bring it home, and there's absolutely nothing the rest of the field can do to take that win away from him. He's the only one that can take that win away from himself if he makes a mistake late in the race, or if we get a very late safety car. But as the laps tick down, that safety car becomes less and less likely. Shakes P4, Natsumi P5. Both those drivers have one thing in common. They have penalties. Cheddar P6 still doing what he can to get past that Red Bull. He'll see it on his timing screen there that the Red Bull ahead of him does have a time penalty, so he knows he'll be able to pick up that position as they go over the line, but he wants more positions. Unfortunately for him, in front of Natsumi, there is a massive 18-second gap before he's going to find himself in 4th place. So if he continues behind Natsumi for the end of the race, he will probably pick up a best possible result of 5th place. Man who led the race for so long, led the race from turn 1. He actually emerged from the pits still in the lead. He held track position in that second stint. Thought he was going to be able to hold on to it, just wasn't making any mistakes, and then all of a sudden, that's all it takes, just the one. Logic still leads from Arabico. Midas still P3. Shakes has fallen off the podium contention so far, just 6 laps to go. That gap at 3 seconds. Next man in line is Natsumi, still holding on to that 5th place, just probably frustrating Cheddar. Those mediums 8 laps old, and all that fresh rubber he would have wanted to be laying down on the circuit he has spent trying to get past a Red Bull. Finally this time round on the main straight, opens DRS, gets past the Red Bull, and Cheddar goes up into P5. But I think that's as far up the order as he's going to go unless there's mistakes up the field. Speaking of up the field, let's have a look. Shakes P4 minus P3. And Midas now all over the back of the AlphaTauri, 0.6 of a second. That's the closest we've seen the gap so far. Can he make this? A Mercedes-Benz 1-2, his teammate far up the road. But P2 most certainly is not far up the road. He's right there. Stick your arm out the cockpit and you could probably touch that car's gearbox. Midas on the attack in the late stages of the race. Yes, all these hards, I believe they can finish on these hards. I asked earlier on in the race and someone in the comment section says they should be able to finish on the hards, but it's going to be a bit of a stretch. But luckily for everyone in the top 4, they're all on an old set of hards, so there shouldn't be anyone in that top 4 gaining any sort of advantage really. Only man with an advantage is down in P5 and a long way adrift from the top 4. It's Midas, still keeping the pressure on the AlphaTauri. His teammate did the same to an AlphaTauri and eventually forced a mistake. Now it's Midas versus Don Rabico. Chapter 1 was Cheddar Logic. Chapter 2 is Rabico Midas. Who's going to steal P2? And who's going to be disappointed with the P3 after all that? Can you be disappointed with the P3? You're on a podium. But I can guarantee you, if you've been fighting for P2 this whole time and you get P3, whether you were on the defense or on the attack, you will feel slightly disappointed with the third step. Cheddar on that recovery drive hasn't really been able to close the gap since he passed Not Shumi. Brand's P5 was higher up the field earlier on. The Ferraris have re-met each other in the timing screens. They're 8th and 9th, not quite line astern, a bit of a gap between them. Grimjaw P10, those are your points paying positions. Then out of the points tonight, we just have the 3 cars. It's Simps, Django and Shane, who I believe is ghosting around the circuit, so I don't think that car will be classified. Grimjaw also ghosting around the circuit, so we're going to have a look at who's ghosting towards the end of this race. Seems like there's more than one culprit. At the front set of hards, 24 laps old, your leader, F1 Logic. The lead continues to grow lap after lap. He just takes a little bit more. And look at this gap, 15.5 seconds. It's Verstappen tier stuff. Don Rabico, he wants P2. He knows his teammate is up there in P1 and he wants to make it a 1-2. What a race it would be. Pick up a 1-2 in Monte Carlo. Probably going to be the most challenging racetrack on the calendar here in Season 5. And what it would mean to the guys. I think any one of these 3 finishing on the podium in Monaco, something to be very proud of. I'm almost overwhelmed with all the sport this channel has got tonight. I think it's been our best viewership, or at least our best live viewership of the season so far. So thank you to everyone who joined. I don't know if people are sharing the link around, but if you are, thank you very much. Spreading SAFRL. More people watch it, the more people know what we do. And maybe we'll find some talent along the way to join the talent we already have on circuit. Speaking of talent, Logic now leads by 16.5 seconds. Mercedes-Benz P1, P3. AlphaTauri holding on to P2 now. Just 2 laps to go. Shakes P4. Cheddar not making up any ground. In fact, he's falling a little bit back. That gap was 18 seconds. It's now 20 seconds. So I think he has settled for 5th place. Sees that gap in front of him and it's too great. 20 seconds. Knows he's not going to catch it in a lap. So he's probably just backing off now. Natsumi not able to do much behind him either because he's on a very old set of hards in the midfield. So he's just holding on for the end of this race. 16-second gap for the leader. So we're going to follow 2nd place because this is where the battle is. Mercedes-Benz versus AlphaTauri. 2 more laps to go, or should I say 1.5 more laps to go. Just a 3.2 kilometer circuit. Get around here really quickly. And Midas still pushing, still hoping for that mistake. Just waiting for the back of that AlphaTauri to maybe step out and give him an opportunity. They get awfully close in the hairpin, and I think the front of that Mercedes may have touched the AlphaTauri ever so gently. Don't know if the AlphaTauri would have felt that, but I'm sure he did. The stress levels this late on in the race, you're going to feel every single tap. Logic, no mistakes at the front as he starts his final lap, lap 39 of 39. In this Monday night Tier 1 race here at SAFRL. For some of these guys, they drive in Tier 2 as well. So they'll be doing this all again on Wednesday night. I think some of them double over. I'm actually not 100% sure of that. I need to look at the Tier 2 lineup. Midas still P3, doing everything he can, but he's running out of corners, he's running out of tarmac, and he's running out of time to do it. Whereas he settled for P3. They're now approaching a McLaren, but looks like that McLaren is ghosting, so they shouldn't have too many issues getting by. Is it going to be a late lunge? Is it going to be one last gamble, some late heroics, or will he just accept his fate? P3 it is, did the best he could. Time is running out. He's going to need that AlphaTauri to go awfully wide into the final corner. That's the only way this is going to happen. But now that gap's opened up, and I think this will be your final positions. Don Ravico, fantastic race from him. He brings it over the line in P2. Had to sustain a lot of pressure in his mirrors in order to keep that P2. Then Midas P3 shakes over the line in P4. We now wait for the next car. Little further back, that is Cheddar. Started the race from pole position, led the race for a long time. Eventually the mistake did come, and he wasn't able to hold on to the back of your eventual winner, F1 Logic. Cheddar goes over the line. He's going to be closely followed by the Red Bull, the only Red Bull tonight. The other one retired earlier on in this race, much earlier on in this race. Brands now over the line, P7. Then we have the 2 Ferraris, line astern as they have been for most of the race. P8, P9, good night for the Ferraris, double points. And then we have the Williams of Django going over in P10 for the final point here on Monday night. Simps, driver of the day. Good performance by him to pick up that accolade, and now we just wait for the official results. And there we go, official results. F1 Logic left no doubt in the minds of the spectators. 14.6 seconds was the gap for the lead. Then we have Don Rabico, P2, great race from him. The second Mercedes, great race from him too. It's Midas, I'm repeating myself all the time. Then we have Shakes in P4, Cheddar P5, Natsumi P6, Brands P7, Bosveld P8, Buffelsfontein P9, and Django in P10. Missing out on the points tonight is your driver of the day, Simpson P11, Grimjaw P12, And I'm pretty sure Shane was ghosting for a majority of that race. He makes up the field in P13. As for your retirements, it's a pretty long list. Retirements tonight: Wizards, Tiag, Royal Viking, Pumpoon, Lungnai, and Welsh on lap 1. I want to thank everybody who joined us tonight. There was quite a bit of you in the comment section at one stage, quite a bit of you watching. Really nice to see from a commentator's perspective, to see this sort of support. The racing was great, the comments were great, everything went well tonight. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for joining SAFRL. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do, so you can see all our future races when they come out, as we post them. And leave a like on the video. We'll be back next Monday. And who knows, if I'm available, I might be back on Wednesday. See you then.